The magic with a show like Consolevania is that it's a show for people who already know their stuff. So you don't need us to tell you that Siren comes from the mind of the fellas behind Silent Hill. You don't need us to tell you that it's already garnered a solid reputation, with import forums ablaze with tales of the game's tense set pieces. You don't need us to tell you that it's a game about 10 people trying to survive in a village overrun by people tainted by a stream that now runs blood red. But you see, we've told you anyway in a roundabout way that makes you feel clever. See how that works? So Siren then. Let's get the first major sticking point from you out of the way. Do not go into this game expecting a survival horror experience. This is not a horror game. I repeat, this is not a horror game. If you reduce a game down to its mechanics, and I often do, being an anal bastard, this game is a stealth game. Tear away the horror story environments and enemies, and you could easily throw in a futuristic setting with roving robots and you'd have essentially the same experience. It's all about the sight jacking, see. Sight jacking allows your character to see through the eyes of the enemy. You can assign different enemies to different controller buttons and freely flick through their points of view so you can plan a safe route of passage through the area. Now, doesn't that all sound a little cold? Couldn't you suggest that the sight jacking element is a little bit close to the hacking into security camera deal you've seen in many a stealth game? Of course, you don't usually see those security cameras chasing you down, but the idea is still essentially the same. This is not a game mechanic informed by the horror genre. This is a stealth game, folks. Expect nothing else. Expect nothing else, and you'll soon begin to appreciate exactly what Siren does bring to the table. If you'll forgive me for putting on my wank hat for a few minutes, I'd suggest that Siren has an auteur feel that is lacking in so many games these days. What do I mean by an auteur feel, you ask? Yes, you fucking did ask, so shush. I feel that Siren is a labour of love, a game driven by one creative mind and with scant regard for what me, you, Edge, Games TM and Daz think about it. You see, Siren isn't much fun. That's right, it's not fun, it's a slog, it's cruel, it's tough. It's the furthest thing for fun you can imagine. Now that sounds like a negative, right? Well, it's not. When you buy into Siren, you buy into someone else's vision. You buy into an interactive experience that gaming has been begging for. Dare I say it, folks? Siren crawls dangerously close to art. You keep playing through appreciation and the stimulating ability to bring your own interpretation to the proceedings. You're not playing because it's fun. Siren makes fun look like a dirty word, like the way beef sounds like a dirty word on Saturday night. Siren beside Resident Evil is like Kurosawa beside Joel Shitty Schumacher, and I love Resident Evil. Siren is something new, something else. You need only look at the facial animations and the characters, the perfect lip syncing, the impeccable performances from the voice talent to see that great care went into making this game. All this is before you even mention the structure of the game's narrative. The timeline loops, forcing you to replay areas over and over until you fulfil conditions that provide hope for characters yet to pass through those areas. The narrative builds layer upon layer until you finally learn what's going on. Now, Siren is unremittingly bleak. Never in a video game have you ever felt so powerless, so hopeless in your attempts to survive. Again, this isn't fun. It's simply you living within a world the designers have chosen for you, but you enjoy being there because the world they've created is so rich. Now, I mentioned the big bad word art earlier. I'm no big in the games or art thing. I like my games to be games, but it's hard to play Siren and not believe something more is going on. If not within the game itself, then at least in the mind of the designer. I felt troubled by the constant use of sirens in this game. These didn't seem like your random Silent Hill sirens, just there because they sound scary. There is something very warlike, something inevitable about the sirens in this game. They're constant, echoing through the game, through that bizarre narrative structure, echoing through time. The village is stream blood red, its people bloodied, broken and mutated. It brings to mind Hiroshima. You might not want it to, but it does. One wonders whether the designer is saying something about post-war Japan with Siren. The villagers, the enemies, tainted by the wail of the siren, seem militaristic. Crack shots with their rifles, constantly beating senselessly at objects with their hammers, always seeking to kill. The Japanese survivors must try to exist among their enemies without arousing suspicion, and to do this they must see through the enemy's eyes. They must see the world as the enemy does simply to survive. Is the designer commenting on post-war Japan's assimilation of Western culture with this game? Or am I simply thinking about it all a little too much? Regardless, how many games offer us the possibility of such an interpretation? I can't recommend SIREN in the same way I would recommend many other great games. This is just a different kind of experience. But in time, this game could be seen as the Citizen Kane of video games, a game ahead of its time, a game which does the unthinkable, dresses up art house movie sensibilities in survival horror franchise garb, and sneaks into our homes to educate us in its own difficult, uncaring, unsharing, and truly revolutionary way. SIREN is now available in PAL territories under the title of Forbidden Siren, and the game's been dubbed, so everything I mentioned previously about the auteur's influence can be written off. Why? Because it sounds like this.
Hey me darling, what's wrong? It's these monsters, they frighten me. Yeah. I mean, I don't like them, they killed my dog, you know what I mean? They killed it.
Yeah, no, they're bad for that. They do a lot of killing dogs. It's because they're monsters.
Yeah, but it's that Red River. Wait, you gonna help me out here? Oh, who's this? Oh, shit.
Hello, I wonder... Yes, my car is broken down, and I wonder if you got a spare tire on you or something. Hey, what do you make of these zombies? They're crazy, huh? You better not... Hey, you look a handsome boy. You want to come into the woods with me? No, yes, I'm from Istanbul. What'd you do that for?
He was gay. He was a gayer.
Now, if you'd like a horror game your kids can play, we recommend this.